Okay, we've done the Meet the Oldest Living Person in History on page 6. One thing that I forgot to mention, go back to page 6 in your Ready to Read More book. To help you making your questions, make sure read the section heading first, like who is the oldest living person in history? Well, the section's about who, so you want to ask questions about her, personal questions about a person. A lifetime of memories. So you want to make sure you're thinking about questions that talk about her memories. Where did she go? What did she do? What did she see? What did she experience? What people did she meet? Things like that. Make sure your questions are directly connected to the section and that is connected to the general topic. If it's like a lifetime of memories, well, what did I do last year? No, it has nothing to do with you. It's about her. It's about the reading. Okay? So when the questions and the answers and the information all connect to one topic, that is called unity. You will always need to focus on unity. Okay, now that's what I wanted to say about that. Go over in your book to page 9 in Ready to Read More. And this is Reaching High and Living Long. It's a different story, but it's still in the same group of story about elderly people. Okay, now what I want you to do your pre-reading. Take out your blue highlighter, highlight the title, the subtitle, and the section headings. And you're going to notice something. Before paragraph number 1, and also before I say that, highlight the caption underneath the little picture, okay? At the beginning of paragraph 1, where it starts, Sarah Louise Delaney and Anne Elizabeth Delaney were two well-known sisters, and the rest of the paragraph, you notice there's no section heading. Well, it's the first paragraph of the reading passage. What do you think that every section needs to have a heading? And if it doesn't have a heading, be an active reader and create one. Well, it's the first paragraph. It's the first section of the reading passage. What do you think the section's going to be? It's going to be introduction. And then when you make your questions, what kind of questions do I think I'm going to need to work with an introduction about two sisters? Think about that. Okay? Then highlight in blue the section headings, the title, the subtitle, the caption underneath the picture. Then think about what prior knowledge. Now you have prior knowledge about elderly people from Meet the Oldest Living Person in History. So you have prior knowledge from your life. You have now prior knowledge from Ready to Read More in page 6 and Meet the Oldest Living Person. Now take all of that information and use it as prior knowledge to say, what do I know about this? And look at the section headings. What do I think I'm going to know? Okay? And think about that. Then that's your surveying and your prior knowledge. Get into your queue. Get into your questions. Make a list of, a few questions for each section. Make your questions for each section, not for the whole reading passage, and put them on a piece of paper. Make sure you have that piece of paper as a separate piece of paper from Meet the Oldest Living Person in History. Then go ahead, put down your pen, put down your highlighters, have your questions next to you, read the entire passage, all of it, all of page 9 and all of page 10. See how much you understand without stopping. Don't stop for vocabulary. Don't stop to answer questions. Always the first rule of reading is read completely from beginning to end. Don't stop. When you finish doing that, pick up your orange highlighter, your pen, and get your questions. Go into each section. Read the section again with the idea after you read your questions. What questions can I answer here? What information can I find? Use it like a game. What can you find? What treasure can you find? It's a good discovery game. Write down, highlight in orange, and write down what it is. Answer it on the piece of paper. Do all that work back and forth. Okay? And do that for each of your sections. When you get done with that, that's your pre-reading and your reading. then remember when you're doing your answers and your orange highlighting, you're saying it out loud to yourself so you can hear it. Then you do the last part, the after reading. You do your summary. You go on to Blackboard and you do your summary for the sisters. I refer to this as the sisters story. Okay, and then you do that, and you say to your, and you turn your book over, and how much do I remember? How much do I need to go back and look for? Okay, that's page 9 and 10. Do that, and then go to pages 16, 17, and very little on top of 18. Living past 100. Okinawans outlive everyone else. I'll give you a little help. Okinawans are from Japan, so you're thinking about. And it's still living past 100, so these are still elderly. So now I have previous knowledge or prior knowledge from oldest living person, from the sisters. Now I know it's about Japan. Now you're saying to yourself, what do I know about Japanese culture? What do I know about anything about Japan? So that I can add that into my prior knowledge. Do your same thing. Take out your blue highlighter. Do the process for highlighting the topic or the title, the subtitle, the captions underneath the pictures. Then make your questions for each section. Create that prior knowledge stuff. Go into the reading, read everything completely first with no pen and no highlighter. Just read to understand. Read completely first, the first rule of reading. You're going to notice I'm going to repeat myself a lot. So when you repeat it and you repeat it and you repeat it, when I say it again, you're going to remember it. Okay, then you go in and read it again, section by section with your questions in your pen and your orange highlighter, and you annotate with your orange and you make your name or your highlight or whatever statistics. Remember, when you highlight, it's names and numbers and places and dates and statistics. If you find a number, highlight it. That's a trick. That's a hint. Professors love looking for numbers. Okay, do it for each section. Now, some of the sections, like getting lots of exercise, that's a very short section. You may only have 1 or 2 questions. That's okay. So go through the process, do all 3 readings the same way. You have a separate piece of paper for your questions for each one of them. Okay, so make sure that you go through the process. It will take a little bit of time. It probably takes, I'm going to say right now for you, between 20 and 30 minutes to do the entire process of do your highlighting, make your questions, read it, reread it for the annotating, turning it over to try to remember what you know, writing your summaries, answering your questions, all of that stuff. It takes about 30 minutes for each reading. It's going to take a while now, but during the semester, when you do more practice and it becomes natural for you to go through the process, it's going to get a little bit faster. And think about it. You only have to read the story 2 times and you understand it. Look how much you already understand from Ready to Read, or the Meet the Oldest Living Person in History. So that's going to be really important for you. So it's really important to make sure that you get this and you get through the process and do that for each of your stories.